Newsflash: stocks are soaring and trade talks are in full swing. On this recent Monday, Wall Street was abuzz as US and Chinese officials convened for trade talks. The result? The S&P 500 saw a rise of 0.3%, the Nasdaq Composite climbed nearly 0.4%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained a whopping 106 points. Now let's rewind to the beginning. The setting? London. The event? A high-level trade discussion between the US and China. The US delegation, led by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, sat across from China's Vice Premier He Lifeng. The goal? To address an ongoing trade dispute and to negotiate the flow of critical minerals. The talks were not without their tension. Each country accused the other of violating agreements. Analysts speculated that progress might be elusive due to deep-rooted disagreements. Yet these discussions were seen as part of a larger battle for economic dominance in the digital age. Rare earth minerals and semiconductor technology became key sticking points. China's control over these rare earths was viewed as a strategic tool in negotiations. The US, on the other hand, sought to ease export restrictions in exchange for increased access to these materials. In the midst of these negotiations, China's economic woes became evident. Trade data showed a slowdown in exports, particularly to the US. But despite the challenges, both nations agreed to temporarily ease tariffs while negotiating trade matters. Back on Wall Street, the semiconductor stocks saw gains. Qualcomm acquired Alphawave and shares of AMD, Texas Instruments, and Nvidia all rose. Apple shares, however, dropped as the company announced a new iPhone operating system. In other news, Morgan Stanley downgraded Lululemon, while IonQ acquired Oxford Ionics for a cool $1.1 billion. RK Fintech ETF hit a multi-year high, and the iShares US Aerospace and Defense ETF closed in on a record winning streak. Robinhood stock dropped after not being added to the S&P 500, and Warner Brothers Discovery announced plans to split into two public companies. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Trade talks can shake up the stock market. While the negotiations between the US and China may not have led to a comprehensive agreement, they certainly stirred the pot on Wall Street. As we await more details from these talks and inflation data due later in the week, keep an eye on those stocks. You never know which way the market will turn.